It is Monday, August 17th, 2026. I am Jeremy Wolf, former MLB draft pick, former Olympic qualifier, your host of Open Athletes, the founder of Open Athletes, many other things that we might talk about today. On today's show, Jeff Bezos is going to buy Liverpool. We knew this. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, but he's going to become a minority owner, and then he's going to buy the whole thing. Jeff Bezos just bought a third of Liverpool, and I want to talk about what he actually bought, because it wasn't just a soccer team. Angel Reese got her own shoe. This is a great story. I love it. Good for Reebok. Good for Angel Reese. The NFL had a stare down with its own TV partners and blinked. The NFL doesn't blink. But the networks are not the networks, but the streamers and everybody are so powerful. We'll see how that went down. Amazon quietly took a piece of the NBA that used to belong to ESPN. Much of what our show is talking about is athletes, NIL, contracts, but we also talk a lot about media. And the reason why we're talking about media is because that is where a lot and a majority of the money comes from that actually give these organizations, these sport organizations, their worth. So when somebody competing with ESPN, a traditional cable network that we have seen bid on sports for decades now, is outbid and competing with Amazon Prime, it's just very interesting as we're watching that transition happen in real time. A women's college volleyball match is about to pay out $1 million in one night inside an NFL stadium, and a 200-page bill meant to save college sports is about to run out of time. Then, today's take with a Monday theme is money and markets. The whole day points at one lesson: you are not the talent. You are the distribution. We call this out as much as we can every single day. You are not the talent. You are the distribution. You athletes are not the talent. You are the distribution. You founders who are building in sports are more so the distribution than you are the talent. But you could also be talented. Okay, quick hits. Victor Wembanyama gets his own Nike line. He signed a Nike signature shoe deal on the heels of a 5-year, $252 million extension with the Spurs. 22 years old, and he already owns a shelf at Nike stores. He's the biggest star in the NBA right now. Obviously, LeBron. Global. He's got global appeal. He's French. The shoe outlives... What did I write? The shoe outlives the knees. Whatever, it's early. Leave me alone. Good for Victor Wembanyama. We love to see it. The Mark Walter cloud gets darker. Per Huddle Up, Dodgers and former Lakers owner Mark Walter is under federal investigation, and reporting says it helped trigger the sale of the Lakers. To be clear, he's not been charged. Obviously, we are just reporting what we are reading in Huddle Up, where we're reading in other outlets. A forced sale and an open probe in the same week means the market prices uncertainty. We will see what happens. We'll see what he's going to have to do with his Dodgers stock. I mean, he is the TWG, which runs Cadillac's F1 group, and I think might be the main sponsor. I believe is his company as well. I mean, what is going to happen with all of his other assets? Is the Lakers the one because it was most recent, or the one could be most liquid right away? Whatever it is, we will see over time. The Exiles start their own shop. Per Front Office Sports, John Jastrzemski, Sal Licata, and Jimmy Traina are teaming up on a new sports media venture. Traina's leaving Sports Illustrated after 20 plus years to do it. When the building kicks you out, you are the building. Exactly. What we're talking about with athletes is creating your own audience. Sal Licata, all of these guys from Sports Illustrated are building their own thing. Jimmy Traina, sure. When you can, go out on your own. I mean, in news, Zateo, most of my consumption of things is sports, but the guy that started it was just at MSNBC for decades, and left or got fired or whatever it might have been, started Zateo, and now has hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of subscribers directly to him, directly to his network. And so independent media has never been stronger. In sports itself, what independent media outlets are there that are reputable? I believe Front Office Sports has industry backing. I believe. I'm not confident of that. I'm just spitballing. Open Athletes is independent as a reporting channel. Huddle Up, Joe Pompliano, right? An independent voice in all of this. So the ability to go directly to the consumer or the reader changes the ability for these networks to own market share, because Pablo Torre can join Metalark and not have to be part of the ESPN family of networks. And so the distribution of that, of the consolidation of where news comes from, is a very good thing for sporting and news, presumably if everyone's telling the truth and not lying about anything. So if you are somebody who wants to tell those stories and wants to do those things, you now have more ability now than ever to do those things. Whew. Quick hit number 4. Benetti adds the NBA. NBC is expanding Jason Benetti's role to include NBA play-by-play, 10 to 20 games on top of his baseball. I love when good voices do multiple sports and multiple things. Cool. Perfectly fine. Many of them do baseball and football. Many of them can do basketball and baseball and football. It just depends on timing. Gymnasts can do all of them. If they're great at what they do, I will tune in. So easy it can be. Aikman stays put. Troy Aikman, per awful announcing, has no plans to leave ESPN and cleared his Miami Dolphins advisory role directly with Roger Goodell. Tom Brady rule. Tom Brady owns part of the Raiders. Troy Aikman is an advisor at the Miami Dolphins. These guys want to do all the things that they want to do, and the NFL is letting them. Is it going to change their output and the ability for them to do their job well? No, I don't think so. Some might have it different. Some really, really smart football people might say, well, because they can't be in the meetings or because they can't do X, Y, and Z, it's going to change things. I think it's good brand recognition or whatever it might be that they are looking for. For the teams to allow this to happen. But when you got Troy Aikman and Tom Brady like in your locker room, that's a great thing for these organizations, because you're the NFL, right? You don't need the notoriety that it provides you, but having somebody. But we saw John Elway do it, and he won a Super Bowl, got close. He won a Super Bowl, right? So like we've seen former quarterbacks be very good at the thing that they are doing. And the Dolphins want to win, and the Raiders want to win. So we will see if that allows that to happen. This show today presented by Athletes Fund. Athletes Fund. Athletes Fund backing current and former athletes, building real companies and real businesses in sports, in business, doing the things that they love, that they want to do. Their way to transition out of sports doesn't always have to be getting a job in sales. Getting a job in sports after you're done playing, or getting a job, or setting yourself up for success, can happen during your career. It can happen after your career. It can happen at any point. You're an athlete and valuable to yourself, your family, your network, your community, because you can open doors. You can get in the room. Athletes Fund helps you do those things more impactfully, better, more consistently. If you have an idea, or you want to start something, or you have started something and you need a push, a lift, come do it with Athletes Fund. Okay. Where's my Chiron? It is Monday. Jeff Bezos buys into Liverpool at a $7 billion valuation. Liverpool, we've talked about it before. The fact that they're valued at $7 billion, which is an immense amount of money, of course. But the world that I live in, and startups and valuations and raising and share price and for it to be 7 billion for Liverpool, the biggest brand in global football. At 7 billion, what company out there is worth 7 billion? I think Ramp just raised a couple hundred million at a $20 billion valuation. Now, again, more users, more streams of revenue, all those things, right? That's what it comes down to. But it's so interesting to me that, like, you know, and Elon Musk can buy Twitter for $44 billion, and $44 billion is the cost of all of the MLB teams combined. It's just, again, different. I'm apples and oranges in it, but that's where my brain goes first. Bezos Group grabs 33% of Liverpool at $7 billion. We spoke a couple weeks ago. The Bezos Group is thinking about it. That Jeff Bezos is thinking about it. Wanted to become a minority owner. He's definitely a minority owner, but for a third of Liverpool. On Friday, Fenway Sports Group agreed to sell a big minority stake in Liverpool to a consortium that includes Jeff Bezos. Not the whole club, a slice. But look at the size of the slice and who wanted it. Per CNBC and Sportico, the consortium is buying roughly a third of Liverpool at a valuation just over $7 billion. Per the reporting, the group is 1892 Holdings led by Amit Bhatia, with the Mittal Family Trust, EE Capital, and K5 Bezos is lead investor. FSG stays majority owner with operating control, but the group has an option to buy majority control at around $8 billion within 12 months. British reports peg Liverpool's value between £5 billion and £6 billion. The richest man on the planet, well, one of the richest. One of the richest men on the planet did not buy a soccer team because he loves soccer. He bought legitimacy. Premier League club is one of the last pieces of appointment television globally. The largest that Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, PSG, global football brands. It's unskippable. It's relevancy. He owns the Washington Post. He owns Amazon. He owns Blue Origin. Blue Origin, whatever. Global companies. What these people want is the ability to be relevant in sport. But people at this level are not collecting art or cars anymore. It's the collection of these professional sports franchises. Because the investment in these professional sports franchises so far, in the research that I've done and everything that I have seen and read, the valuation of these teams is not decreasing. Right? Just like a piece of investment art, just like a collectible car. It's another thing added to the Rolodex of things that they can put on their resume or that they can put on their gigantic mega yacht. What he's buying is the thing that can't build alone. A captive, emotional audience that shows up every week. He didn't overpay for control on day one. He bought a third, kept the operators running it, locked an option to take over later at a set price. That's not a fan's move. It's not what Steve Cohen did, right? Steve Cohen did not, for the Mets, did not want to become a minority owner and sort of wait. Maybe he was a little bit, but sort of wait. Bought the whole thing at once and said, we're going to be a World Series winner within 5 years, and that hasn't happened. It is not close to happening yet. Jeff Bezos is being more methodical with it. But what he's thinking about is the long-term share distribution of all of the things that he owns. I would not be surprised if we saw a Blue Origin shoulder patch in the next couple of years. Obviously, Amazon's going to sponsor things. Obviously, there's a push to be more global. Obviously, this has other ramifications to it. When you buy Liverpool, you get that globally. He bought the option, not the obligation. I'll flip it to you. Okay, this is a show for athletes or people building in sports. You already own a version of what Bezos paid $7 billion for. You have the ability to create a real audience, which he has, and he did. Access to rooms, a finite window. Most athletes treat it like a memory. Bezos just treated the same asset like inventory. move in the way that he did. He didn't buy Liverpool as a soccer asset. Obviously, we've been around sports to comprehend and to know that it's for other reasons. Other reasons that money can't manufacture. Other reasons that his money can't buy. That's what these sports teams do at that high of a level. For people who have the ability to buy 50 Liverpools. So when Americans move into European sports, is that good or bad for sports? I can't say. What's good or bad for sports is whether or not the product on the field improves and the cost of participating in those products is subject to the fair market value of what it should be. What it shouldn't be is price gouging and underinvesting and making the product that they have purchased a worse experience for people to participate in. And again, I'm tired. I'm so sorry that I keep saying, and we will see. But now that it's final, let's see what happens. And let's move to topic 2. Angel Reese gets her first Reebok signature shoe. The Angel Reese one drops September 18th at $120, which is, for signature shoes now in the marketplace, fair. They used to be 90, 100. Now they're 120. Okay. From the most expensive audience in the world to the fastest growing one in America, Reebok announced the launch date for Angel Reese's first signature shoe, the AR1. I love sneakers. I'm a sneaker boy. I don't do basketball shoes, whatever, but I love sneaker lore. I love the history of sneakers. I think when people get a signature deal to create a sneaker, I think that's amazing. Good for Angel Reese. Per Authentic Brands Group, Reebok and Reese announced a multi-year extension plus her first signature shoe, the Angel Reese 1. The AR1 launches September 18th at $120 in 3 colorways. The colorways are named Me Bounce, Receipts Ready. Built off her own on-court persona and the criticism she gets. Per Sports Illustrated, that puts her in a very small group of active WNBA players with a signature shoe. We love the WNBA here. Very much on Open Athletes. We would love WNBA players to stop by the show. Tell us about their shoe. Tell us about the thing that they're building, the businesses that they are creating because of the audience that the WNBA allows them to create. Reebok didn't put her name on a shoe because she's the most efficient scorer in the WNBA. They did it because she owns the most valuable thing in the building, potentially in the league: attention. Lover, hater, tweeter. When she does something, you look. Me Bounce, Receipts Ready. You look at those things. She did it for a reason. She took the insults and stamped them on a product with her name on it for $120 in partnership with Reebok. She turned the noise about her into inventory and an opportunity to capitalize on the fact that she can be a global star outside of the algorithm. Sports allows her to participate outside the algorithm and use the algorithm to build her own brand, build her brand bigger. To be honest, a signature shoe is usually a royalty, not equity in Reebok, so ask for the real number. But even the modest version is a lesson. She's building a line that carries her name forward every year, playing or not. Whenever she's off the court, whenever she's done. She turned the reputation that she has into a product, and the people that like her or the people that don't are going to participate anyway. Now, let's look at this shoe. And first reaction of the shoe. I haven't seen the shoe yet. And I want to see the shoe. And so let's take a look at it. It's our Bezos article. Boston Globe locked this out. Reebok Angel Reese announced multi-year partnership extension and first signature shoe. Are they going to show it to us yet? Maybe. They're teasing it. I'm excited to let you guys know that we are officially coming out with the Reebok by Angel signature shoe, said Reese. We've kicked off the design process, and it means that to me, Reebok's full support and confidence with the shoe and overall partnership. Angel Reese signature shoe. Are we going to see it? No, we are not. I deliberately did not want to. I deliberately wanted to try to find it. No, they're pulling it out. And good on them, Make it exciting for me to like wait to participate in the shoe. Here's what matters. If the shoe is cool, then this is a play that works. And obviously, having your own shoe is like what every single athlete like wants, of course. Sure. I would love the Jeremy Wolf signature shoe. If you're out there and you're making shoes, let's talk about the JW1 shoe. I got thoughts. But if the shoe's ugly, no one's going to buy it. If the shoe's cool, has that retro future feel that's going on right now, and if the performance is good, if it's good, the fans of Angel Reese is going to buy it. $120, blah, 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 blah. Royalty fee. Reebok's going to make money. Relevancy. Angel Reese is going to make money. She's already getting money from the deal. Fine. But if it's really good, like really, really good, the boys that like basketball shoes are going to see it and go, wow, I like that too. And if it's really, really, really good, people in the NBA are going to wear it. If it's really, 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 really good, people off the court are going to wear it. And it's going to be streetwear, and it's going to be cool. Because Reebok is cool again. Angel Reese is cool. And if you can put the two together and be cool, then that's cool. What's not cool is if it looks ugly. We don't know what it looks like yet. It hasn't leaked. We'll come back. When it launches, we'll see how it does, and we'll see if the shoe is cool. If it's cool, it's cool. If it's not cool, it's not cool. How more specific can I be about it? This show presented by Delight. Okay. What is Delight? What are our friends at Delight doing? It is very expensive to gain the trust of a customer. What's more expensive is losing the trust of a customer. Delight ensures that you do not lose your customers for ways that you can control. That you do not lose the work that you tried so hard to get. So, delight.jeremywolf.co. Oh, that's me. Everything's in our show notes. If there's anything I can do to help you keep customers, I would be happy to help you keep the customer. There's things that we can do with our companies to help you get customers. Audit. Air dose. All the other things that we can do. But take a look, because Delight can help you keep your customers. The NFL's standoff for their TV rights cools off for now. Fox won't re-up the NFL early, and talk slipped to 2029. To the biggest wallets in American media, which flexed for a week and then quietly relaxed. 2 weeks ago, Fox CEO Lachlan Murdoch said Fox won't re-engage the NFL on new rights until closer to the league's opt-out after 2029 and 2030. For a minute, it sounded like a threat. A week later, per awful announcing, everyone decided it wasn't. Murdoch said on Fox's earnings calls that network won't renegotiate NFL rights early, pointing to the 2029-2030 opt-out. CBS said talks are effectively on hold until Paramount sorts its Warner Brothers Discovery acquisition, while calling the NFL relationship strong. What have we said before? The Paramount acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery is delaying or obfuscating many of the media things that are happening in sports. This is a media show. This is a sports business show. This is a where money and movement, what a movement in sports is moving show. This is a I'm a former professional athlete. What do I think about it show? We have to talk about this. And it's really fun to talk about because look at all like the deals and the politicking and like the positioning and the posturing. CBS currently pays about $2.1 billion a year for its Sunday afternoon package. Amazon pays about $1 billion a year for Thursday Night Football. Why does the delayed negotiation matter to us, to builders, to whatever? Because it's a masterclass in leverage and in reading the real number under the headline. Everyone assumed streamers would blow the doors off for the NFL. And the quiet truth is they really haven't yet. Amazon pays $1 billion for Thursday Night Football. One night a week. Half of the cheap linear package, whatever. The NFL still needs old TV more than old TV will admit, or more than the NFL is willing to admit. Murdoch's, well, we'll wait until 2029, wasn't a power move against the league. Per the reporting, it reads like a message to his own shareholders: don't panic, stop punishing the stock, etc., etc., blah, 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 blah. Money. When somebody says they're walking away, the question isn't, are they bluffing? It's, who are they actually talking to? Murdoch was talking to Wall Street. Will walk away is almost never aimed at the person across the table. So as you figure out who it's really for, you can make assumptions or decisions on what you want to do with that information. NFL's deal is opting out 2029, 2030. Okay, it's 2026, 2027 this year, so a couple more years. What does Netflix do to position itself for more games? It's going to do the big games. Maybe it continues to do Thanksgiving and Christmas. Why? Because that's what they do in Major League Baseball, isn't it? They do opening day. They do the All-Star, or they do the Home Run Derby. They do what happened a couple days ago, the Field of Dreams game. Maybe they'll get a playoff game or something. Netflix spends however much money for 3 days a year in Major League Baseball. Netflix, I think, has Thanksgiving games, but definitely has Christmas Day games. Okay. Amazon is Thursday Night Football. ESPN has Monday Night Football. CBS has Sunday. Fox has Sunday. Two of those channels. Amazon has its own like Fire Stick, plug it into the TV. I'm an Apple TV girl myself, but they got the Fire Stick. They can control what goes to it, what people use, what people see. Fox just bought Roku. And how are they going to position the NFL in the growth? And how is the NFL going to position itself now that Fox literally owns the thing that you can watch television on? It's not going to be talked about a lot in terms of acquisitions or things for many years, I bet. But Fox's acquisition of Roku is one of the most fascinating things I have seen in business in a very long time. Because they said, well, right now people have to get us through DirecTV or YouTube TV or whatever. And they said, well, let's just go direct. And I think that's incredibly fascinating. But they need to continue to participate in sports. We talked about last week. If Paramount doesn't, or Warner Bros. Discovery doesn't, or any of these new entities say, well, we don't want to participate in sports, the leverage that they have in the only thing left that's appointment television ceases to exist. Unless there's not going to be a must-watch. I mean, there is. I mean, everybody watches The Pit, but there's 10 episodes of The Pit every 18 months. The only thing left that is worth advertising dollars on a very consistent basis is live television through sports mediums. So the league has leverage, but the networks also have leverage, and Fox has more leverage than the others. Amazon maybe, because they own Roku. And what things are going to come from that? I think it's incredibly fascinating. And obviously we will keep our eyes peeled on those. Back to Amazon, okay? Prime Video just got the Eastern Conference Finals for 2027. It's not NBC. It's not ESPN. It's Amazon Prime Video. Sports has been on these streaming channels for a while. But for it to get the NBA Conference Finals, I don't know when it's going to be simulcast. Let's figure it out if it is or not. But the fact that, can you watch Amazon Prime can you watch Amazon Prime Live TV? Well, without Amazon Prime subscription, I'm sure you can download the app and watch the NBA for free because they want as many people as possible to watch it. So it probably will be open because they're just going to make money on advertising, on eyeballs, etc. This is a big deal. When the NFL talked, the NBA redrew its map. The league dropped its full schedule Thursday, and buried in it, Prime Video gets the Eastern Conference Finals in 2027, Amazon's first ever conference finals in any sport. Per AA, Amazon's Prime Video will carry the 2027 Eastern Conference Finals, its first ever. Under its 11-year deal, Prime Video gets a conference final in 6 of those years. Half East, half West. Okay, got it. I was like 11. I'm split in half. Okay, 6 of those years. Half East, half West. NBC's MLB wildcard round airs 2 games a day on NBC, the other 2 on Peacock and NBC Sportsnet. That replaces the old ESPN model. 3 games on the flagship, 1 on ABC. Same story as the Bezos one earlier. Obviously, same model in different clothing. The people who own the pipes are moving up the food chain. Amazon isn't a TV network. It's a store that figured out live sports is the best reason to open their app that they own. So they own everything on the app. You got to have Amazon Prime, which gives you all these other things, and then it gives you things on the app. And then they own Amazon Fire Stick for millions of people. Gets you into the app, it gets you into their system. It's fully vertically integrating all of the things to one simple, beautiful place. In terms of the consolidation, the gobbling up of all of the things that are happening in television right now, Amazon doing this is fascinating. It's a store that figured out that live sports is the best reason to open the app. Every playoff game on Prime Video is a night. Tens of millions of people log into Amazon. Visibility and advertising. Get closer to their cart. The game is the front door to all of the things that they offer behind it. That's why they have Amazon Prime Video in the first place. Store is their business. Notice who's disappearing. ESPN used to own MLB Wildcard, used to own conference finals, and now it's NBC and Peacock, Amazon Prime. The old cable king keeps getting chipped. For you, the arrow points one way. Distribution flows to whoever owns the customer. So ask the uncomfortable question about your own business, or the own thing you're doing, or the own negotiations you have, or the own NIL you're navigating. Do you own your relationship with the customer, or rent them for a platform that can change the deal at any time? Amazon doesn't want the game. They want the game because it opens the app, but they don't want the game. They want you to open the app. The game is the front door. Sports is the front door. Sports is the front door to getting you through all of those things. Amazon said, well, we can front the cost for all of this and look at all the people that are participating in our ecosystem. Let's buy Whole Foods so people can participate with us in person. Incredible. Prime Video tapped for NBA's conference finals in first year broadcasting. The round, let me see. Prime Video and NBC will rotate Eastern and Western Conference Finals throughout their 11-year broadcast deal. Though the order of rotation is unclear. NBA released its full 2026 schedule, as we mentioned. Some marquee matchups on opening day, of course. Christmas is the biggest day in the NBA, other than the finals. Well, there's much to discuss, including expansion for the number of games airing on broadcast television. Perhaps the biggest revelation Thursday came from Prime Video. It's the streamer's first season broadcasting that round of the playoffs. Prime Video is announcing it would broadcast the ESPN Eastern Conference Finals this upcoming season, which perhaps a more expected outcome, but far from a guarantee. Under the old set of deals, ESPN and TNT would rotate which conference final they would air each season. For instance, if ESPN had the Eastern Conference Finals one year, we'd have the Western Conference Finals the next year. That pattern seems to be continuing in year 2 of the agreements, with ESPN having aired the Eastern Conference Finals last season, while being scheduled to air the Western Conference Finals over this upcoming season. That every other year cadence is why many presume Prime Video would be awarded Eastern Conference Finals this season. However, if that pattern were to hold, that would mean NBC would always air a Western Conference Finals, while Prime Video would always air an Eastern Conference Finals. I don't totally understand that. Maybe I'm missing something. That will not be the case. Alpha Announcing has learned through the course of NBA's broadcast deals, the rotation will be shaken up, and NBC will sometimes be awarded an Eastern Conference Finals, while Prime Video will sometimes be awarded Western Conference Finals. It is unclear when the NBA plans to implement a new cadence. Okay. TNT, ESPN, like all players in the space, who's willing to spend the most money? Major League Baseball has revealed the dates for 2026 MLB postseason. A new report is showing how the television arrangements will look in NBC's first season covering Wild Card Round. According to Sports Media Watch, the NBC broadcast will air 2 games per day during the Wild Card Round with NBC Sportsnet. Playoffs, they play things during the day and then people can't watch or people can't go, and it's just kind of, they need to get all those games in, and it would take too long if they had it every single night. But I think it's pretty stupid that they put games during the day that people can't go to or can't watch because they are working. People are working. They can't go to those games because they're too expensive, so they want to watch on TV and they can't watch because they have to work. That's a pretty significant difference from the arrangement from 2022 to 2025 when the round aired on ESPN networks, with ESPN 3 of the 4 games airing on cable, with 1 afternoon game airing on ABC. So, a lot of things. God, I fucking love this job. Love that we get to talk about this every day. It's amazing. It's amazing. This is something I learned about today that I think was very interesting as we pull it up. As we pull up everything. Hold on. Live TV. There we go. $1 million on one night. College volleyball goes big. $1 million on one night at AT&T Stadium. Story I can't stop thinking about because it's the future of sport being built in real time. Women's college volleyball, which is incredibly exciting as an entertainment value in itself, is about to put $1 million on the floor in one night inside an NFL stadium. $2 million events in the same week. Spikes Under the Lights runs August 27th at AT&T Stadium, Nebraska and Florida. Penn State and SMU, each program gets a $200,000 appearance fee with another $200,000 in prize money on the line, a record for money on offer in women's college sports. Days later, August 29th and 30th, the Players Air Volleyball Showcase at T-Mobile Arena puts up $1 million in NIL opportunity for 4 teams. Nebraska volleyball has drawn crowds rivaling football. This is being built as a Super Bowl of college volleyball. It's amazing. It's not the number, it's the model. For 100 years, the deal was you provide the talent, we keep the money, you get exposure. This flips it. It's a made-for-TV event, real purse, national TV, one night, athletes as the entire product. It's women's volleyball. Not the sport with the biggest TV deal, but Nebraska selling out arenas, and the demand is there. It was just never packaged into anything worthwhile before. The lesson, the whole show, this is everything we do. This is everything. The audience was there, and somebody built a business around it and built an opportunity for more eyeballs on it. Netflix didn't get more popular. Nebraska didn't get more popular this month. It got monetized by people who saw an opportunity to fill an arena, to fill a stadium. The audience was always there. This month, somebody finally treated it the way it should have always been treated all the time. Let's take a look.
Every sport has its moment where people believe it's going to take off. We came up with a product that we think is the most exciting volleyball event to date. We have AT&T Stadium, the biggest possible venue. We've got 4 of the top-ranked teams in the country playing live on TNT for $1 million, and the biggest prize in the history of the sport. Given the success that a bunch of the teams had nationally, specifically Nebraska, and their great success in their game a couple of years ago at Memorial Stadium, and we thought we had an opportunity to create an annual event that would turn into the Super Bowl of the sport. From aircraft carriers to New York City streets to beaches, we place tennis courts, pickleball courts, volleyball courts, all different kinds of things in places you would not ordinarily think they should go. You have to make sure that the integrity of play is exactly the same. With regard to the actual load-in, that's a sprint. We do not have access to the venue.
Keep this in mind. Here's why this is incredibly important and incredibly interesting. It's the same sport. You're watching the same thing at home, but is the one hockey game a year you're watching the one that they play inside of a football stadium, not inside a normal arena? Even though you're at home, it's the novelty of it that makes it exciting and entertaining and different. Now, going to these things is what's valuable as well. The reason why they're able to give a $1 million purse or whatever is because they're creating novelty out of something that is ordinary, a sporting event in whatever arena, and making it being exciting to be there and go in person because it's the one time of year that that thing happens. Amazing.
Venue until approximately 36 hours before the event. We're building the court, we're building the seats around the court, we're building the staging for the musical performance. You have 3 matches in that 3-hour time frame, and between the second semifinal and the final, a musical component. So you're trying to condense that entire package into 3 hours. The total investment into this project is somewhere between $4 to $5 million. In their own right possible, but see, for the players and the brands and the TV broadcast partner, we have somewhere between 24 and 36 hours from when we get in the building to when everything needs to be completely set. And that includes not only what we're presenting to the fans.
I love it. If you're with GSE Entertainment, if you are participating, if you are an athlete, come on our show and talk about these things. Like, this is, look, where is money moving in sports? Okay, I'm going to look right at me. I'm going to look right at you. Where is money moving in sports? To the athlete and to the fan. Let me repeat that. Where's money moving in sports? To the athlete, to the fan. Where is also money moving in sports? Novelty, in person, differentiation. If they think that they can sell out stadiums and arenas with college volleyball, and it costs $4 to $5 million to put on, and it costs $1 million to bring the teams there, and it's an $8 million endeavor in one day or multiple days or whatever, with advertising and with everything, can they make that money back? And if you make it interesting and you make it exciting and you make it worthwhile and you can make it sustainable and you can make it lucrative, that we're going to see more sporting events on aircraft carriers and baseball inside of football stadiums. We've seen that before. We saw that in the 1960s. We've seen that before. Like, that's not new. What is new is saying, well, college athletes can benefit from this. What's new is saying, I'm sorry about moving the mic so much. What new is saying, what this new iteration of it is saying, where else can we put it that is interesting and different? What sports can we do? Where will you tune in? Where will the stars be? Who can we bring in? What advertising can we bring in? What can we activate? For them to do this with college volleyball is a testament to, A, how exciting college volleyball is. For sure. What it's also saying is this is the beginning of more college sports participating in this long term. Why I bring that up is because college softball is just as or more exciting than college volleyball. And what can you do with college softball with athletes that are making $1 million a year in NIL? If you bring them on board, bring Texas Tech, LSU, Oklahoma, USC, whatever, University of Arizona. They're tapping into the audiences that these athletes have already generated and the brands that those athletes have already built, and not the other way around. It can be the other way around because somebody could play very well and get a lot of fans. Okay. But this company is saying these athletes are incredibly lucrative and powerful and popular. And we as an organization could piggyback on top of them. It's my take on it. We could piggyback on top of them to participate at a national, or in some cases, a global level by bringing novelty to the thing that they were already doing. These are two equal sides of the party. GSE Sports Entertainment is not spending this much money to say, well, let's just see if it will be lucrative. Let's just see. They know it is, because Nebraska's volleyball team is selling out arenas. And these Nebraska athletes are making millions of dollars a year on sponsorships, on partnerships, on NIL, etc. And now you get to put those together. So college volleyball, powerful and lucrative, depending on obviously where you are, right? If you're not at a Power 5 big school like that, of course. How else are people going to tune in to college sports that is not football? We used to say all of these organizations are making the majority of their money on football. And while that's true, let's take a step further in our thinking about where the money is moving in sports currently for these athletes. Gymnastics, college softball, college volleyball, obviously college basketball, obviously college football. But 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you're not saying, oh, a college volleyball or a college softball player is going to make $1 million a year on NIL. You weren't saying that because they didn't have the audiences yet, and they didn't have the ability to create national brand and recognition like they have been able to over the last couple of years. What is the whole point of the conversation that we are having here today and every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, and then our interview after that, 10:45, 11 a.m. Eastern? Why? Why are you tuning in to me? Because I'm a former professional athlete? But I think the way that we are having this conversation and talking about it, I hope that I can share something that is insightful. I hope that I can share something for a fan that says, well, I didn't really think about it that way. And now that I know, I'm going to tune in and watch college volleyball in Central Park. Because I think that would be an entertaining thing for me to watch at home with my children. Or I watch at home in general because sports is entertaining and I'm a fan of volleyball and whatever it might be. But if you're an athlete at home, and if you're going to participate in that, how can you leverage the fact that you're going to be on a national and or global stage with this 1 week, with this one weekend? If you're building something in events, what can build novelty? What can build exclusivity? What can differentiate yourself? These guys saying, well, we might be on a aircraft carrier. Okay. Cool. Where else? Oh, we're in a cornfield. Okay, great. Put a college football game in a cornfield. If you're the NBA and Netflix is incredibly excited by hosting this Field of Dreams game, I read on Twitter the other day, sorry for doing the Twitter, I follow like 20 people, okay? They said, well, the NBA should do the same thing. Why not put it in the original gym or like the old Indiana basketball gym? Or why don't they put a game in like the Naismith Auditorium or whatever? Create novelty, even if it's exclusive. Even if you're not going to sell 22,000 tickets for one game, even if you sell 5,000 tickets or 500 tickets. The novelty and exclusivity that creates for the fans who are participating increases the value of those tickets, okay? But you're not going to make as much as you would with 22,000 tickets. I understand that. But for 1 day a year, you get to be doing the thing at a cornfield in this old thing. How can you sell and create an ecosystem around it? That's what I'm saying. That's why this is incredibly important and valuable and something that we need to keep track of. And if you are working for these organizations, come on and talk to us. Because I want our audience to see why you're doing it, how you're doing it, the conversations you're having to set this up, why you thought that this would be a good idea, how you're trusting the organizations to put on a good product, or how you're committing to all of these, how are you getting sponsors? And speaking of college athletes, we're going to go right into it. No ad break on this one. The 200-page college sports bill runs out of clock. The money always ends up Washington deciding who keeps it. The Protect College Sports Act The big federal bill meant to put rules around NIL and the transfer portal looks like it's stalling out. And the reason is almost fun. The reason is funny. Because we can't figure out how to protect college athletes. We can't figure out how to regulate any of this. Because the wrong people are making the decisions on this who A, don't understand how any of this functions or works, or B, putting the conferences in charge of vetting and approving all NIL deals and pay. Why are we creating all of these systems that are structuring all of this with referees that don't want to or can't do anything? Per Extra Points, the current draft runs more than 200 pages touching the transfer portal, athlete NIL pay, and Olympic sport protection. The bigger problem is timing. Congress's budget fights, judicial confirmations, and foreign policy ahead of the November midterms. The bill would need 60-plus Senate votes in a narrow window. The writer's honest read is it would be a surprise if it passes this fall. It won't. The analysis notes college sports lobbying is dwarfed by what crypto and prediction markets are spending. The athlete lesson, buried in a boring policy story. It's congressional bill, blah, 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 blah. This fails not because it's wrong, but because it ties to let me rephrase. Stuff gets me going. The athlete lesson buried in a boring policy story. This fails not because it's wrong, but because it tries to do everything at once. And nobody with real money is fighting for it. The people who make rules respond to the people who show up with pressure. Athletes as a group still don't have leverage as a group. They have leverage as individuals, but they have not collectively gathered to build a unit to allow them to argue on their own behalf. Let me rephrase that. I've built a union before against a very powerful union, against a very powerful league. The only way that I was able to do the thing that I was able to do, and the organization that I started was able to do the thing that it needed to do, was only because we had the power in the numbers. Everything else didn't matter. Athletes as a group still are not able to show up collectively in college sports. They are only able to show up as individuals. Individuals with NIL, money, and rights, depending on what brand or what thing. Arch Manning is going to make $6 million this year. Sure. But there's 50 Arch Mannings. Maybe 100. There's a lot of them. But they're not collectively bargaining for the representation to bring the whole forward. The whole of college athletics is being decided upon by groups of lawmakers and lobbyists and whoever who either A, want to suppress their rights as participants in the marketplace, or B, do not want to suppress their rights as participants in the marketplace. However, none of this has a clear leader, a clear ideology. And so you're allowing lawmakers to say, well, here's what I see, and here's what I think should be done. And neither of them are taking into account what the athletes are, who the athletes are, the participants in this space. It's taking into account what the colleges want, or what the biggest brands want, or what the networks might want. But the fact that this has stalled is due in large part because the athletes haven't collectively bargained for their representation. Again, my perspective. I've done this enough in sports, read enough, I've studied enough to know that that's how you create leverage from a federal and a state-by-state perspective. We talked about Oregon State women's basketball team. Like building a union. That's your first step in doing all of this. Your first step is gathering as a unit of athletes, as a unit of what should be perceived as employees, which are not. When I was doing it more than baseball, I had minor leaguers who had no leverage and no voice, guys making about $3,000 a year, while the game printed money. The organizations that they worked for were making record profits. But the athletes that they were bringing up or using as assets were not being paid subject to fair labor standards rules because Major League Baseball at the time, and still kind of is, it was exempt from that. But we didn't wait for a 200-page bill to save anybody. Change came when players got organized, and organized enough to be taken seriously. Organized talent gets legislated. Let me say this again. Unorganized talent gets legislated around. Organized talent writes the legislation themselves. College athletes doing nothing is not an option anymore. Unorganized talent gets legislated around. Organized talent writes the legislation. This is no different than the fight that we had in minor league baseball 5 years ago. There was a pool of athletes that were not being treated fairly, and laws were being built around them without their approval, without their express written consent, without their ability to collectively bargain on what is best for them as the source of the revenue and the source pool of the talent. And we understood that unorganized talent gets legislated around the Save America's Pastime Act, and organized talent writes the legislation. Instead of yelling about building a union, we built an organization. We were popular enough as an organization that players trusted us. We used that trust to turn this body of athletes that we had access to into what became the Minor League Baseball Players Association, the largest body of unionized professional athletes in the country. 5,000 plus is what we were able to unionize. Because we gained their trust, and we knew that with numbers, we had leverage. What did we do with those numbers? We had leverage. Do I agree with everything that happened after the union was formed? No, I don't. However, having a union and having these athletes represented by the Major League Baseball Players Association is the best thing that has ever happened to minor league baseball players, because now 10th through 20th round makes $150 flat, I think, in a signing bonus. There's some issues with the player pools from the 1st through 10th round, and players are making $40,000 a year. There's less rounds, yes, and less players, yes. Is the talent better? Are they being promoted quicker? Are their assets improving faster? Is it too expensive for them to facilitate? I don't know. Padres just sold for $4 billion. These teams are ever increasing in value. There's money to go around to ensure that these assets improve in the thing that they are doing, and to be used as assets as you would in a normal business, to trade away for parts, trade away to create dynasties, trade away to create windows of championships, which brings in money. And that is why $40,000 of an investment into this guy, and you can trade him away, and you can create a window to make the playoffs because you got some guy for that. For college athletes, unorganized talent gets legislated around. That is what is currently happening. Organized talent writes the legislation. College athletes out there, I hope this gets to you. Build an audience that trusts you. Build a community where you can trust each other. Current and former college athletes at that level, building something that supports the well-being and the labor rights of each of you. It's better to have that representation while politicians get chirped at here, not bribed, I can't say bribed, influenced here. I know we can get into these diatribes, but the fact that things are being built around college athletes and that there's no specific representation for those college athletes is the whole crux of the problem that we have had for the last 25 years and longer, forever. Where is the legal representation for these? Where is this? Where is it? Why is there still no national federal body protecting the rights of college athletes? And if I'm missing it, come on the show and tell me, and let's have this conversation. I don't see it happening. I see bills being pushed that are going to change, like dramatically change things without the representation of who it's going to be, either in the hearings or having the conversations or setting the rules. And I don't see people representing those athletes to do those things. Minor League Baseball, people were making rules on our behalf, and I was pissed. That's why More Than Baseball started, because I was sick and tired of having people having conversations about us without us in the room. College athletes are not doing that from where I sit, from where I see things, from what I read, the conversations I have. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to say what I think and be proved wrong. I am happy to change my opinion if the facts present themselves in ways that I'm not currently seeing or reading or hearing or learning about. But from everything I've seen and from everything in my experience, college athletes are subject to the things happening around them, the things happening to them, because they are unorganized. Organized talent writes the legislation like we were able to do in minor league baseball. Unorganized talent gets legislated around. And if you're a lawyer working on whatever you can in college athletics, I would love to hear your story so that we can have this conversation here. If you're a politician and you are having conversations about college athletes with athletes in the room, I would love to hear it. But if you're having conversations without college athletes in the room, or without a representative body of the people who are making the money for all of these organizations, let's have a conversation about why you're not talking to college athletes, why you're not listening to primary sources on the topic. And in the comments, you might say, well, Jeremy, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. There's so much happening every single day in all of these things that I am doing my best to get to everything. I'm doing my best to share my perspective with you. My job is to make sure that you as an athlete understand your rights and your power as an athlete. My job is to make sure that founders building in sports understand the leverage and the power that athletes have. My job is to be a former professional athlete bringing these conversations up. My job is to be someone who has built a union and been taken seriously in something that was deemed to be impossible. And we built the union because of timing and luck and grit and determination and support and resources and funding and money, because we're saying and doing the right things. So I know what I'm talking about. But if there's things I don't know that can change the conversation, tell me, so that we can have this conversation. This conversation is happening in real time. I can only see what I have in front of me. I do my research and I write every day and I study every day, and I'm bringing you as up-to-date facts as I possibly can. And if you in the comments see this and you go, well, what about this, this, and this? Leave a source, leave a comment. Let's bring somebody on the show that can talk about it, because this is a space to be a resource for you as an athlete to understand your rights, as somebody who's building to understand your leverage, for politicians to learn that maybe what they're doing isn't good enough. I need commercial breaks. I can't just read through commercials anymore. Yeah, this is what I write. Sorry, I clicked on this button. But what I write, I'll walk through what I do right now. This is built every single day by, I built like a algorithm inside of like I could be honest, like a Claude task. And I go through all of the things I can. Sports Business Journal, Twitter, every single morning I do this. And then I use my, like a recorder. I basically use this mic and I say, here are all the things I want to talk about today. Here's the most important. Here are all the sources. Here are the links. And then it generates this word blob into like bullet points in a script. And so that's where I read these bullet points. But then I'm, with my knowledge on a topic or my understanding of a thing, that's where I'm able to ad lib and do these things. And so when you ever see like a teleprompter, it's because I frame the conversation in bullet points and notes. So I don't have to look at like a notebook or anything. I'm able to look at it and read it. And then on my like desktop here, that's why I'm able to like click through these different things. And so like, what do I want to talk about today? Well, I read into the thing, Bezos buys Liverpool, Angel Reese gets her shoe, NFL Standoff. Here's what I read. Here's what's most valuable from this. Like I copy and paste and I write notes, and then I link the sources, and then the Claude system reads everything, reads all of the sources, and says, based on your notes, here are the bullet points for each of the topics, and also let me write the bottom here. Let me write this. So you might say, like, Jeremy, are you reading everything every day? Yeah. And I'm doing, as a one-person shop, I'm trying to be as up-to-date as I possibly can. So when you see the teleprompter, that's why. And when you see, like, guests, so we'll bring our guest on and it'll be on sort of like this screen. That's how I'm able to, like, slide back and forth. That's how we had him here.
But also prior to
this. When we go into our outro, I'm able to play this, and I have these buttons that allow me to, let's go back here. When I like click on this, that's how we're able to get our sound effects. So you might be like, Jeremy, why are you talking about sports? Well, why do you keep seeing like a teleprompter? Like, how do I keep sliding back and forth? This is my 12th show or something. And I'm like so excited, like come on here and like have these conversations every day. But sometimes I can't figure out like what screen is what anymore. And like, so I have to make sure that you understand. So why are you seeing a teleprompter? Because I have notes that I need to read so that I can get you all of the numbers and all of the facts, because I can't remember everything. But then I kind of word vomit all of the things that I know about this topic. And then once I feel like I'm close to the end of the conversation on that, that's where we switch to the other thing. And when I play like a commercial and I do our ad read, that's how I like change everything in on the screens, or I switch articles that we can like scroll through. So that's how I do everything. I don't know if that's interesting or not, but if you're like, how do I do all of that? That's how. So we have MindReady, Marvin. We have all these different companies that like can't, like, you know, help any business, help any individual. Some of them I've started. Some of them are partners with Open Athletes. And so we have little ads. And so that's why I like click all these buttons. And I'm able to do that. That's why. That's why you're able to see it like that. So anyway, let's get to our final topic today. As we've talked about, own your distribution, which is a lot of these athletes are owning their distribution. It's a great thing that they are able to understand and do that and have an opportunity to do that. On the surface, 5 unrelated stories: a soccer team, a sneaker. We've talked about TV. We've talked about NIL. We've talked about football. We've talked about the money moving in and out of sports. We've talked about all of these things. The scarce thing in sports is not talent, and it never was. So much talent everywhere. There's thousands of players who can play at a high level. 1% of, 5% of high school athletes play in college. Less than 1% play professionally. There's 1,000 clubs that like can play football soccer or football at a high level. There's thousands of teams that can play basketball at a high level, whatever. Hundreds, college and professionally, right? Talent is the cheap part. It's cheap in college sports because they don't pay everybody, but it's expensive because you want the most talented guy on your football team. Well, you're going to have to give them $3 million in NIL so that he will come to your team. Or you partner with Chase, like your Ohio State, and Chase will pay some of it. The scarce, expensive part can't be manufactured. It's something that cannot be manufactured. And that's a captive audience. It's the entertainment value of what these athletes are providing. People who show up on purpose, on time, on schedule, and care about the thing that's happening on their screen or on the field in front of them. Jeff Bezos paid into a $7 billion valuation for a third of Liverpool because the one thing he couldn't build was a stadium full of people who die for the badge. Amazon put an NBA conference final, will put an NBA conference final on Prime Video. So millions of people on the shopping app Amazon could see that there's also NBA going on, and they're incentivizing more people to participate in Prime, because when more people participate in Prime, they get more money. When people watch Amazon Prime and watch commercials on Amazon Prime, they make more money. Amazon is milking every single ounce of money that it can everywhere it can, and their avenue to do that is through advertising dollars through the channel that they built to incentivize people to participate in Prime more. Peacock carved the MLB wild card off of ESPN. These guys, these builders, looked at Nebraska volleyball and put $1 million on the floor. Capital looked at an audience and said, that's mispriced. That's mispriced. I had no leverage. I was a Division III baseball player. I was a 31st round pick. I was a senior signed. My contract was $5,000. I made $3,000 a year at the time. I had to pay for my own housing, food, and equipment. Then my back gave out. I was done. I played European baseball. I qualified for the Olympics. I had like a tiny little window to like be this athlete anymore. I didn't make the Olympic roster. I was done. I've seen all of this from the outside looking in. But when I was building More Than Baseball, I was on the inside helping other people come inside with us. We got into the rooms. We changed the conversation the way that it needed to be changed. The language we used was an open, honest counterpoint and dialogue that the entire challenge needed. That's my perspective. That's my experience in doing all of this. Where am I getting all of this information from? Because I've lived it. I've done it. I've had these conversations every day for years. Now that fight, I do not have that fight anymore, because that fight, we won that fight. And when you go to morethanbaseball.org, you'll see a whole thing about me, Simon, and Slade. And then you'll see, look at our old website. And then the front page of our old website is we did it. Because we did do it. The goal was not to build a nonprofit so that baseball is globally the biggest game in the world, which it can and is and should be, or whatever. It was because we wanted to garner the trust of all of minor league baseball players and Major League Baseball. And we wanted all of the players because we wanted all of those votes to be union votes. And we did that. We took 4 years and we raised $2.5 million, and we spent most of it to like get more players to trust us and participate in the things that we were doing. But we had a very small window to do it. We had a very small window for like legal legislative leverage on top of that. We had a very small window. We were very fortunate that COVID put the things that were happening to minor leaguers on the front page. We were very fortunate that Twitter allowed us to amplify the thing that we were doing. Why does a minor league baseball players union finally exist after decades of not supporting them at all? Is because all of the pieces had to be in place to line up perfectly with all of the hundreds of people that were participating and the thousands of people that were organizing. Everything worked out the way that it needed to. Minor league baseball players, and now part of the Major League Baseball Players Association. That was my goal. And it wouldn't have happened without having the conversation the way that More Than Baseball was having the conversation. Myself, Simon, and Slade knew the way to get in the room was to just do whatever we could to get in the room. And if we were yelling, pay them more, we wouldn't have gotten in the room. So where can college athletes take a piece of this? Your job is to get in the room collectively. So have an honest and open conversation with your audience and get them to understand that even though some athletes are making $1 million a year in NIL, some of them aren't. There is no collective body protecting the rights of the individuals that are participating in the sport that is making the money for these organizations. Talking about football because, yes, people will say, well, this team doesn't make money and they're only existing for whatever reason. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that collectively as a whole. If the only push I'm seeing for unionization in college athletics is Oregon State women's basketball to supersede a federal rule about unionization because they're a state university, well, we need to see more of that. But it's really hard to do those things right now because the winds of federal change are not in your favor. You are facing headwinds if you're an athlete trying to do that, trying to unionize, because that is not favorable for you right now as a conversation. So what else can you do to build collective action together? Oh, I know. Open Athletes is helping athletes navigate NIL. Why don't all of the athletes organize under the banner of navigating NIL safely under the banner of Open Athletes? So say we had one athlete who used our legal services and legal representation to say this organization tried to screw me, and Open Athletes participated in the marketplace and helped negotiate and make sure that I was not taken advantage of by whatever thing, or I was protected against the organization that took advantage of me or whatever. Okay, well, what if there were 100 of people doing that? And then what if there now became a bunch of different advertisers that could piggyback on top of the athletes that were participating in NIL? And then what if there were 1,000 of those? From what I see in the marketplace, yeah, there are companies that can help you find NIL deals, but they're not. I haven't seen them designed to protect the athlete. I've seen them try to maximize return for the NIL, the people paying for the NIL. I've seen them try to maximize return for the athlete participating in NIL because it will maximize return for the platform that's creating this thing together. But I don't need to make money off of your deal with that organization. I need to protect you from that organization. What if there were 2,000 athletes as part of Open Athletes participating in this? What if there were 5,000? What if every college athlete was part of Open Athletes as a protective clearinghouse against nefarious deeds and actors happening in NIL? Right now I'm just spitballing. But what if Open Athletes had 5,000 athletes in its organization to say, we will protect you, we will support you, we will give you the things that you need so that you can be protected? What can you do with collective action in that particular way? I'm giving you the playbook. I'm giving you the playbook that we're going to run. Believe me or not, Open Athletes as a collective action representing athletes who are building businesses can very much in the same way protect college athletes against nefarious actors trying to leverage them against their will, or agents taking advantage of them, taking 20 or 30%. You see where I'm coming from? So own your audience and take your piece, but be smart about the decisions that you're making and be smart about the language that you are using. This is the language that I am using. Athletes at this level need more protection. That's my belief. That's what I believe. I've done it before. I've seen the winds change in the movements. I've been a professional athlete. I know what it's like. I've been a college athlete at a very low level. I was a Division I, not making money when I could have been making money, and NCAA didn't allow me. No. The things that we can do with Open Athletes is to protect athletes at every level because they are a business, and we can treat it in the same way as we're treating our athletes who want to start a business, who want to say, hey, I can build this app now that Claude will allow me to do X, Y, and Z thing, and I just need funding. I need a co-founder. I need mentorship to help me get from point A to point B. The offensive lineman at Texas Tech making $1 million this year on NIL. How much is he actually making? Some. Most. 700,000. So who's making $300,000 off of him? His agent who got the deal for him? If so, finder's fee. But 30%? What if there was somebody taking as little as they possibly could to make this thing sustaining? Oh, whoa. Does that exist? Yes. Sorry, hard. Yes. That's why Open Athletes exists. We're protecting the rights of athletes and ensuring that they can understand the leverage that they have in the marketplace and the power that they have in the marketplace, the power that they can have in their networks and their ability to communicate. It can happen with people who are saying, I would like to start a business doing this, or I am the business and I'm in college and I want to leverage and maximize my opportunity now. You can do that and protect yourself. And if you get 5,000 or 1,000 or 500 people around you doing it together, you now have power. It doesn't have to be this one fell swoop, build a union across the country. It can be done systematically over time by an organization that's dedicated to your well-being. So if you're a college athlete, come to Open Athletes. We'll help protect you against nefarious actors and deeds happening to you and around you in college sports. And we're not going to bring you in to make a profit. Because we don't need to. Because we have other opportunities to do that. And we don't want to leverage you like everybody else is leveraging you and taking advantage of you. We want you to leverage the power that you have in the marketplace and not be taken advantage of. Open Athletes exists to protect all athletes as during and after their careers. We can help you start a business. We can help you get funding for that business. We can help you build that business. We can help you connect with other athletes building the business. But also, NIL has to be a component of it because athletes are businesses. Athletes are their own representation. They are individual in ways. It seems like they are individual contractors that can go from place to place to place depending on how much money that next place is willing to give them. But don't be taken advantage of by agents and companies that A, aren't going to be willing to pay you. You've never read a contract before. Your parents shouldn't be responsible for that. They should be able to trust that there is somebody out there willing to help support you in this that is not in it for the 30% or 20% or 15%. And also, because we're building relationships with all of these different companies, can that company that we partner with also have a relationship with you? That's what's exciting. That's why this show is a space to have those conversations. Every day, we're going to talk about where the money's moving in sports. And every day, we're going to talk about the value that the athletes have in the marketplace. And every day, we're going to say, well, Open Athletes is doing this to solve these problems. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. That's the playbook. And we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Whew. August 17th. Wow, what an energy. I started a little low energy and I was like, I gotta pick this up. I'm a former professional athlete. I get it. I've built a union before in professional sports. I get it. Things are changing. I'm learning every single day. You're learning with me. We're going to have this conversation together. But at the end of the day, athletes are being taken advantage of and are not fully leveraging their opportunity in the window. And we, how do I point over there? We can solve these things together. So if you're an athlete, join us. If you're building in sports, join us. If you are an agent and you're like, I hate athletes getting screwed over too, join us. If you're a lawyer who's like, man, I could protect athletes, join us. Join us. Because there's a lot that we can do here to support each other, to support the well-being of sport, to protect athletes against the nefarious deeds and lackluster execution of our political leaders. There's more that we can do. We can do it together, and we're going to start by doing it together today, and we're going to keep going together tomorrow. Thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.